Hey, good morning, y'all. This is Saturday, I think it's the 8th of May. I woke up with a very clear vision this morning. If you're out there and at some point you swore the sacred oath, which I refer to as the oath of service when you enlist in either the military or the any law enforcement agency, or for that matter, I'm pretty sure it's some part of that, if not an expanded version, is probably involved in elected office. My point being, if you're out there, my brothers and sisters, and you are fighting this war, and you're aware that it's still going on, God has your six. And the Almighty wants me to let you know that when you were created, God created you specifically to make a difference within these moments. Get out there, fight the righteous fight. Do what you can to plant the seeds, but prepare and know that when this digital darkness does fall upon us all, have enough faith within yourself, because you will get through it, and God's light will shine and expose the evil that has been enslaving us all for far too long. In this I have faith. Amen. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on out there right now. It's almost like there's too much noise. And what I think it's pointing to is, and I've been saying this for a while, on the horizon is something that's going to make 9/11 look like nothing. So, it was recently uncovered that, like, before the turn of this recent century, the freaking WHO believed that the Earth was 90% overpopulated. Who the fuck are they? Did you know that if we went back to pre-industrialized, actually, I'm pretty sure it was just pre-1940s. If we went back to like the 1930s the way they did it, and just turned the front lawns that people have in the cities into vegetative farms, just seasonally, we could continue to not only feed the population, but feed the world in the process, because there would be access. My parents fed whatever amount of kids of 11 were still in the house on a garden they had in the backyard and one that they had at my grandparents. And in that case, my dad, on a regular basis, would bring like massive quantities of veggies into work. But he also got into the whole wine out of whatever he could find kind of mentality, which was kind of cool. But I digress. I ran into this young lady while I was at a local store yesterday. She's a college student. Sounded Latin, not that matters, Latino. So I think at some point she said she was from down somewhere in Westchester County or some shit. My point being, she openly bragged about, she was proud of it, that her and her boyfriend had gotten vaccinated together, the first shot. And she started telling me how they had already scheduled the second shot was going to happen, and they were going to do it together, just like they did the first. And that's when I started telling her about, and by the way, she's studying biology, so I asked her if she knew about shedding. She said, yeah. I said, well, did you know XYZ? Did you know that specifically in women that have had the second round, that they're experiencing a 400 plus times amount of excessive menstrual issues? And she looked at me like I was nuts. And then I asked her if, as a biology student, if she had ever looked into problems that occur from wearing just a piece of cloth over your face to filter out whatever is going, whatever is leaving. And if she had ever heard of a disease called hypercapnia, which actually shortens your life. That's a fact. And another customer came in, so the seeds were planted. I walked out. This kid doesn't, and I had, by the way, in the course of the conversation, I had gotten into telling her about how women that had never been vaccinated, just from being in contact with women that had been vaccinated, experienced through shedding the very symptoms, the very extreme symptoms of menstrual cycles that the women that were fully vaccinated were having. That's a fact. Okay. Also, and I believe I started to talk about this when the next customer walked in. I was in a local store. 30 people, at least 30 people, and we're talking just deaths, have occurred per day, lowballing it, since the whole jab thing began. That's a fact. Okay? Look at my eyes, man. Here, I'll take off the glasses. Get closer. 30 fucking people per day. You know what? I've always professed that if legalizing weed saved even one of the fucking soldiers, one of the veterans that decides that fucking life ain't worth it out of the 22, if even, and that's 22 per day. Think about it. That's just suicides. These are being underreported intentionally. Please, look in my eyes, see it. This is intentional. But it's so extreme that nobody wants to fucking believe it. Because if you do, that means that you're fucking, everything that you've been believing is wrong. Listen, I've been down this fucking rabbit hole since 9/11. It made me question why I even fucking enlisted. See, that's the funny thing about war. There's profit in war if you're in the right fucking business. There is. And many of these people that, like Dick Cheney, just look into his fucking past. These people that are in power profit off of us, profit off of our deaths. And it happened in New York on a massive scale. And yet, the sycophant remains in office. What the fuck is wrong with this world? That somehow, and don't get me wrong, when you lay hands on another woman, or even especially if you're in a fucking position of power, you got no business even fucking making jokes, dude. I got in trouble for saying eat my shorts when I was working for an insurance company back in the 1980s. That was considered sexual harassment. And yet, it's taken sexual harassment charges to even get a ruffle out of the fucking mainstream media. And yet, this motherfucker is responsible for thousands of deaths. And listen, my interactions with New York's families, trust me, they're not tolerating mom and dad dying. But God has our six. Have faith in that. God has our six. And God knows what you're capable of. And like I said, if your fucking intent is righteous, forgive yourself. Plant your seeds and move on and prepare. Because darkness is coming, but man, God's gonna destroy it with the light, trust me. God will destroy this fucking darkness with the light of truth. But it's not gonna be for everybody. And you gotta be prepared. When they pull the plug, that's gonna be the sign. Have faith. God bless. Stay safe. Later.